Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy Friday. So one of the highlights of our Detect and Detox Kit is providing personalized recommendations for products to swap and lifestyle changes. Truth to be told, sometimes making these changes can be costly upfront. Sometimes you have to try a few products before you figure out which one works the best. And other times the product you want to swap out can be expensive than the ones that you're using. While it's hard to see, the big picture while living through our day-to-day lives, these changes are certainly an investment to our health. However, the reality of financial burden is also real. So this is why we're really glad to be joined today by Kayley O'Brien, a gut health nutrition coach. Kayley recently had a great post about making non-toxic living more affordable. So we're going to ask her some follow-up questions today. So I see her just sent. Kayley?
Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you so much for taking the time. This is a really, really exciting topic. This is a topic we haven't really talked about. So
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So tell us a little bit about your background, like how you became a gut health nutrition coach.
Yeah, of course. So I'll keep it short because I talked a lot about it on my channel, the very long version. But basically, I had really bad IBS, chronic constipation, stuff like that ever since I was around the age of 5. I don't know for sure, but my mom says when I was super young, like 5 years old, I was constipated. I had a lot of tummy aches and just painful stomach. So I didn't think too much about it. I thought, oh, that's just kind of the way things are. I got older, got into healthy eating more. My parents were very health conscious, but I just started getting into it even more, got into cooking. Um, Tried a million different things that didn't work, eventually figured out what worked, got over my IBS, got over my chronic constipation. I had a few other health issues like amenorrhea and eating disorders and things like that, but I got over all of it and I was like, this is so cool. You can totally heal these things. I went to college for nutrition. I studied nutrition and I just thought it was so interesting. I wanted to help people. Then, when I was thinking about who I wanted to help, I just remembered what it felt like to have my gut issues, and I was just so confident that people can overcome these. I know they can. So I just felt like I knew the most about that. So I learned a little more, studied that, got a gut health certification, and yeah, and then I just started helping people with that. So yeah.
So explain like what is a gut health nutrition coach? Like what do you guys do?
Yeah, so there's two main focuses there, and that's the gut health side and the nutrition side. So, obviously, I work a lot with people that have gut issues. Our gut affects a lot, so oftentimes people do have those digestive issues like I had, where you get bloating or constipated or acid reflux or anything digestive related. But it also affects our hormones, it affects our skin, autoimmune issues or gut issues. So basically, I help people to heal any kind of issues that have a gut root cause. So that's what I'm doing. I'm helping people to make sure their gut lining is healed and sealed, make sure their microbiome is diverse and has lots of good bacteria in it. I help people make sure they're digesting their food well. So that's kind of the gut health side of things. And then the nutrition side of things is I love food, I love cooking, I love nutrition. So I help people with how do you balance your meals? How do you get your nutrients in? What kind of foods should you eat if you have gut issues? You often can't tolerate what everybody else can. So I help people to dial down the nutrition side too.
I think anyone have seen your Instagram posts that they know you love food. And then
Yeah.
not only you love food, you love nature because every food photo or video is always have beautiful like a nature in the background.
Thank you. Yeah, I do love nature too.
This is awesome. So while you're working with your clients, have you found people struggling to make healthier changes due to, the perception that, products or like food and stuff you want them to change are more expensive?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely hear that a lot from people. So there's like a few things I try to encourage people on when they feel that way, because even I feel that way too. I don't like spending tons of money at the grocery store either. So I try to help people find this like quality price balance. So, you don't have to buy every single thing from like your farm next door or your local health food store. That's going to be ridiculously expensive. If you can and you want to, go for it. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. So I feel like finding this quality price balance is really helpful. And I can talk about more later some of my tips on that. But basically, what's something that's good quality but just not super expensive? How can you take advantage of discounts? Does your grocery store do a student discount, or a senior discount, or things like that? And then also I think it's important to focus on like investing in your health now will save you money in the future. I know it can feel like, oh, I'm spending a lot on, groceries, or I'm spending a lot on a water filter, or whatever it is you're investing for your health. But chronic diseases and cancer and medical bills are really, really expensive. So
Mhm.
by just investing a little bit more in your health now, making that a priority over, maybe going out to eat all the time, or, going out for drinks all the time, or whatever it is, if you make it a priority, it's not that expensive, and it saves you so much in the long run. And then one more thing on that is focus on the things that'll make the biggest difference too. You don't have to go out and buy like a million things. I like to stay more minimal. That's just the way I like to be. So I like to focus on what'll make the biggest difference. So uh what's a good example? Like a water filter is one of my go-tos for detoxing, like the first thing to cut out toxins. Yes, it's a little bit expensive, but it'll make a huge difference because we're like 60-70% water. We really need clean water.
Yeah. Wow, totally on the same page. We often also let people know this is an investment for the future, because if you think about it, even just, getting lab testing for if you're actually sick, lab testing, like even just getting diagnostic testing like a CT or MRI, those can cost like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And
Mhm.
let alone, we're not even talking about kind of your social costs, like your quality of life, right? Your relationship
Yeah.
with your family, with your friends, you can't hang out. Like, how do you even calculate that social cost if you don't have your, physical health?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Okay. You kind of like hitting on the next question. Like I was gonna ask you, is, we all need to eat, like eating cleaner not only provide you nutrition, but also reduce your toxic chemical load. And then, but buying whole foods can be,
Mhm.
people can see that being expensive. So, and you had a great post on your website about tips about eating healthy on a budget. So like, tell us about those tips.
Yeah, of course. So my first one is to make more stuff from scratch and to do more work in the kitchen. So yeah, if you don't want to pay as much money, you have to do a little bit more work yourself. It doesn't have to
Makes
be
sense.
anything crazy, but like, for example, I like to buy these big hunks of top sirloin, and then I'll butcher it myself at home, which sounds complicated. It's not. It takes 5 minutes. You like slice it. It's super easy, but they'll like knock off some of the price for doing that sometimes, or yeah, just like making stuff from scratch, it's just cheaper because like, okay, I made a batch of bone broth the other day, and it cost me about $10 to make my batch of bone broth, but buying that at the store would
Oh
cost like
yeah.
$40, and it would be like worse quality because mine's super gelatinous, but they're all like watery at the store. So
Yeah.
that's for example, one thing you could do to save money is make stuff yourself, cook your own meals. It's cheaper than eating out, that kind of thing. Also being content with just simpler foods and simpler meals. I love cooking fancy things sometimes, but if you want to save money, steak and a salad, steak and potatoes, something like that, bacon, eggs, and piece of fruit. It's simple, it's nutritious, it's delicious, and it's more cost effective. You don't have to buy a ton of different ingredients. Um, Also, eating with the seasons. This kind of comes down to simple supply and demand. If tons of farmers have all this seasonal fruit and seasonal veggies, there's just a high supply, so it's just going to be a little cheaper. If you're trying to get berries in like February, there's not as high of a supply, but people still want
Mhm.
berries. price like jacks up. So if you are willing to eat with the seasons, it's better for your health. The food will taste better, it's fresher, and it's cheaper. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Also, eating nose to tail. So I basically just mean eating as many parts of the animal as you want. Um, a lot of people don't like certain cuts, therefore they're very cheap. So if you buy liver or you buy heart or you buy, chuck roast or something like that is a lot cheaper. So if you're willing to, just learn how to cook these other cuts, they're super nutritious. They're really good and they're way cheaper. So that's another thing you can do. You can also, I just kind of called this one bargain hunt, but basically, like when I was a student, I found, oh, this store does 10% off your entire grocery bill on this day. So I'd always go on that day. Sometimes I'll go to different grocery stores because I'm really picky about my meat. I want good quality meat, but a lot of times around me, the cheaper grocery stores sell the exact same produce. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I can just buy it cheaper here. So you can go to different stores. Sometimes there'll be like coupons you can sign up for, little discounts on the receipt. So I just take advantage of those. Like I mentioned before, find that good price and quality balance, something you're comfortable with. And then also plan ahead and don't waste food. It
Mm-hmm.
seems awesome. It you so much. If you just sit down and you go, what do I want the next week? Write down what you want. Write your grocery shopping list based off that. I'd write like good metrics too. I write exactly how many carrots I want, exactly how many pounds of steak. Then I go, I buy it, and I use almost all of it, and I hardly throw anything away. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think super helpful too. Sometimes if I have something extra, I'll make my meal around that so I don't waste it. Yeah, those are my top tips for eating cleaner without wasting money.
Wow. These are like such great tips. And I want to comment on not only you're eating cleaner, you're reducing your toxic chemical exposures, but you're also like saving the environment by reducing reducing your waste and not having a ton of food waste. And I also want to say that it makes so much sense to eat seasonally because then you can also eat local. So
Hmm.
if you think about it, that eating food out of the season, like they will have to be transported from somewhere else. And then think about all the transportation, all the packagings, and all these. You're just like introducing not only a ton of carbon, but potential contaminations and then other things into the food. These are like, wow, such awesome tips. I felt like I need to write them down, like each thing. You also had a great post about, exposure to like other toxic chemicals like flame retardants in like our couches, cars, like, and then these are like bigger ticket items to kind of like than food. So how do you recommend, uh, some like processes handling like this kind of a bigger ticket items? Since this is a much bigger investment compared to just buying daily food.
Yeah. So one thing that I feel like is really good here is to replace things as you need them. It's just a lot less overwhelming that way. So, when you're like, oh, my mattress is really old, I need a new one, then you can go try to find like a non-toxic one that wasn't sprayed with flame retardants and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So like as you run out of things, this is great for clothes too. Like as you run out of clothes, then trying to find ones that are organic, made of natural material. Yeah, same with your towels or anything like that. Just as you need new ones, just try to find non-toxic ones. That's what I've been doing since I learned about this. And then also start with the ones that'll make the biggest difference. So
Mhm.
a water filter, again, is we probably start one of my first, which are to more toxic things. Um, and then after that, all the things that are still really important, things like a shower filter, your helpful, your bedding, your clothing, stuff that you like come into contact a lot is definitely like high priority. So
Mhm.
one, like your undergarments, like you really want those to be natural
Mhm.
fibers and like organic. Also, if you have children, then like, baby clothes, it'd be great if you can get natural fibers,
Mhm.
organic. So kind of like prioritize stuff for you. If there's something you don't come into contact with a lot, it's not the most urgent. If you have a baking sheet that you use every once in a while and it's not the best one, like it's aluminum, it's like, okay, you hardly ever use it. It's not top priority. Um,
Yeah.
Also, another thing too you can do is if you have, I don't know, if you're just concerned about what's in your house, like maybe a little mold or maybe the paints aren't the best or you just don't know, you can air out your house and it makes like a
Mhm.
huge difference and it's free. So instead of feeling too overwhelmed, just focus on what you can do. You can always air out your house, you can always go outside more, and all of that will help too.
Yeah, we also often tell people to dust often because the dust
Yeah.
actually carries a ton. And then, I mean, dusting is free. And it
Yeah,
could help you increase your physical activity, sweat a little bit when you're dusting.
totally. I like that.
Like, what are some things you look for then when you like actually making purchases, like on the label? What are the things you look for?
Yeah. So when buying like new clothes or towels or bedding or things like that, I always look for natural materials as much as possible. So things like cotton, linen, bamboo, hemp, leather, wool, things like that, and avoiding the synthetic things like polyester. And sometimes there's some that I'm like, is that natural? Is that not? And if I feel that way, I just look it up. There's like always a million articles that tell you whether a material's natural or not. So yeah, so I like to look for that. The polyesters, it's just made of plastic. It's not great to be on your skin.
Mhm.
So then also, if you can buy organic, that's awesome. I get that sometimes it's more expensive, sometimes it's not available. So I just focus more on, like undergarments. I think it's great if you can get organic. Bedding or things like that. Just, get your
Mhm.
priorities in line. And if you can do that, that's awesome. And then for food, just, really read all your labels. I'd really avoid anything with vegetable or seed oils in it, anything with preservatives or just unhealthy ingredients. It's pretty obvious when you start to read, does it like almonds and carrots and salt or something, or does it have these weird long chemical names that you don't understand? So you can do that. Obviously, if it's food without a label, it's probably going to be a whole food that's good. I try to get organic as much as possible.
Mhm.
Um, on like meats and dairies, if you can get hormone free, antibiotic free. If it says anything about like they were raised and beautiful like that, I always like
Mhm.
that. Um, Yeah, those are like the main things for food. Also for like cooking and kitchen supplies, because these things are being heated, they're coming into contact with our food. This
Mhm.
is a common source of toxin and something it's good to get good quality of. Um, so for
Mhm.
pans and sheets, all that kind of stuff, I looked for stainless steel or cast iron. If you're buying a new cast iron, try to get one that's not seasoned with vegetable oils. You can
Mhm.
get glass, ceramic. I use a lot of jars, glass Tupperwares, ceramic Tupperwares, and then you don't have to buy a bunch of bags, so it does save you
Right.
money to invest. And just avoid like Teflon, nonstick, plastic, aluminum, that kind of stuff. And then just one more note on buying things in general. If the company really cares about being healthy, like protecting animals, protecting the environment, like being low tox or having no toxins, they'll tell you about it. So
Right.
you
That's
know,
true.
just reading those labels, like turning the thing around and reading their little about the company or seeing it online, reading their little description, I find that really helpful because, yeah, they usually tell you their values there. And, I think that's helpful.
Definitely. What about electromagnetic frequencies? So do you worry about those, and how do you limit those exposures?
Yeah. So, kind of same thing with everything else. Like, they're not great, I don't like them, but also, focus on what you can control because
Mhm.
I don't know, once you open this package of toxins and learning about all these things that affect you, it can be really overwhelming. And you can just start to realize, oh
Mhm.
my God, there's pesticides everywhere. There's 5G towers that have these magnetic frequencies. Like, I can't control anything, but that's not true. You can control a lot, and the things you can't control will make the biggest difference. So, electromagnetic frequencies, or EMFs for short, are basically just like waves that are coming out with different things. We have in us too. That's how our nerves communicate with each other. Um, it's just a common thing, but the problem has to do with the like wavelengths, and a lot of modern technology like our phones, Wi-Fi, cell towers, Bluetooth, stuff like that, it interferes with our body. And there are
Hmm.
people that know more about this that have whole books and things that you can look into if you want the details, but basically it's not very good for us. Some people actually get very sick from them. Our how well we tolerate them just varies person to person, really. Um, but let's see. Yeah, so like they often come from like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, like those AirPods or like Bluetooth
Hmm.
headphones. Those are really not great. They're best to avoid. Yeah, like cell towers, microwaves, our phone, those are like main ones. So some things you can do to limit your exposure are to keep your phone like off Bluetooth, which you have to do in the settings to like keep it there. Otherwise, it keeps coming back on if you just slide up. So you can do that. You can just avoid being too close to your phone. Avoid putting it in your pants all day, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, it'll make a huge difference. For Wi-Fi, you can like turn it off at night, you can turn your phone on airplane mode. You can get wired internet. If you're really sensitive or really worried about it, that's a great option. But, you know, if that feels overwhelming, you can just start by turning your Wi-Fi router off at night. You can use wired headphones, then you won't have the Bluetooth. Like avoid using a microwave. Um,
Hmm.
oh, and then just one more thing is there is less of these in more rural areas, like the so like people that are extremely sensitive usually find they do better in the out in the country.
That makes a lot of sense. And we also learned another tip of one by Sophia Ran living. She's also a detox expert, and then she always mentioned that it was EMF, like definitely leave all your electronics outside your bedroom. So then
Mhm.
you at least minimally when you're sleeping, then you don't have that interference while you're sleeping. Yeah,
Yeah,
these are awesome tips. Oh my God. Yeah. So how can anyone work with you? Like what's a session look like if anyone wants
yeah,
to work with you?
yeah, totally. If you're interested in working with me, you can send me a DM and we can see if it's a good fit. But basically, I primarily work with people who have gut-related issues. So that can be digestive issues like IBS or Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, constipation, diarrhea, autoimmune diseases, things like that. Or some things that are less obviously gut related. So like skin issues, hormonal or fertility issues, brain fog, weight issues, thyroid problems, anything kind of like that. So, yeah, basically our gut affects a lot. So I work with people who have those kind of issues. Um, I actually have clients with a lot of different goals. Lately, I've had a lot of people who want to prepare for like healthy pregnancies in the future. So they're working on getting their gut health good,
Very,
nourishing their
very
body.
important.
And yeah, and detoxing is super important for that too. Yeah, so I have a program. It's called Ancestral Gut Healing. So basically, I work with people to get to the root cause of their specific symptoms and health issues. Then I give them a step-by-step plan to overcome those issues. The healing process involves things like maximizing your digestive function, your gut health, really getting their dietary patterns down. So here's where the
Mhm.
nutritionist in me comes out. I help people to like balance their meals, get all their nutrients in. I love cooking, so I have a lot of recipes that I share too. I have free recipes too on my website. Um, and then let's see. Yeah, so then I also help people with a few other things just to make sure we have a good, well-rounded approach. So I do
Mhm.
some detoxing work, managing stress, working on mindset, lifestyle. Yeah, just making sure we're addressing your issues from a lot of different angles so that you really maximize your health and just significantly reduce your chances of any health problems in the future.
This is the whole package. I love it. I love it.
Well, I like to sell the whole package, otherwise it's not as helpful. Like one
Yeah,
session is okay, but like if you have the whole package, you can fully
absolutely.
heal, equipped for the future, you can know how to do everything for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. I also love the fact that you make pot holders. So tell us about that. How did you get started?
Well, I actually made them as a kid. My mom always loved them, and I'd give them out for gifts, and like, they just worked really well. And I just kind of wanted to sell a little thing. I actually don't have any in stock right now, but yeah, I just wanted to sell something. I was like, okay, well, this is related to cooking, and
Mhm.
they're fun to make, and they work really well. So yeah.
And they're nice gifts.
Yeah, they are nice gifts. I've given a few as gifts, definitely.
You also recently started your YouTube channel. So what kind of content are you creating? Tell us about the YouTube channel.
Yeah, so I just started it. I'm pretty excited about it. It's something I've wanted to do for a while. I'm sharing pretty similar things that I share on Instagram, but because they're videos, I can get more in depth on certain topics, which is nice. So yeah, I mostly talk about gut health, ancestral nutrition, how to improve your health, stuff like that.
No, this is so awesome. So thank you so much for sharing with us today. And then like I want to encourage everyone to follow you on Instagram, check out your YouTube channel, read your articles, and also please make more pot holders so
Oh,
we can
yeah.
get your pot holders as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. These tips are really, really, really good. We're gonna have to write it down.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed them. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Talk to you soon then.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.